Good evening, it's July 28th, and welcome to Cape Media News, your source for hyperlocal news that matters. I'm Lauren Williamson. John Shea, former manager of Trader Ed's bar in Hyannis, was arraigned on civil rights charges on July 26th. The Barnstable County Grand Jury returned indictments against Shea for multiple offenses, including civil rights violations, assault with the intent to intimidate based on race or color, assault and battery with the intent to intimidate based on race or color, intimidation of a witness, and 3 counts of threats to commit a crime. These indictments stem from the incident that took place on May 31st on Main Street. Shea appeared before Barnstable Superior Court and was released on a $2,500 bail. The case has been scheduled for pretrial conference on July 31st. The Barnstable Little League 12-year-old All-Star team made it to the Massachusetts State Finals. Taking place this weekend in Oxford, the team has had an exciting and challenging journey, starting with 115 teams in June and now being among the Final Four. One of the team's coaches, Dan Strand, expressed the excitement and nerves surrounding this great achievement. The community seems to be very proud of the team and impressed with their talent. It is evident that everyone involved is passionate about the game and committed to supporting these young athletes on their journey. Strand also emphasized the importance of having fun during these tournaments, reminding everyone that they are just 12-year-old kids playing baseball. While the competition can be intense, the focus is on enjoying the time and the sport as well as the experience. For those interested in following the team's progress during the state finals, they can find updates on Barnstable Little League's Facebook and Instagram accounts. Let's wish the Barnstable Little League team the best of luck in the Massachusetts State Finals. Last Friday night at 9:01 p.m., the Dennis Police Department received a 911 call about a boat that had crashed into the jetty leading to the Northside Marina in Sassuat Harbor. Shortly after authorities arrived to the call, they learned that one of the 6 people on the boat prior to the crash had not yet been located. A massive search and rescue party was then launched. With the help of multiple dive teams, a helicopter, a drone, and numerous ground forces, the victim's body was recovered from the water around 11:30 p.m. The 17-year-old has been identified as Sadie Marrow from Dover Sherborne High School. Marrow was a rising senior and lacrosse player committed to playing at Gettysburg College in the spring of 2025. According to Massachusetts State Police spokesman Dave Procopio, there were 6 people on the boat at the time of the incident. Apart from the girl who suffered fatal injuries, a teenage boy was also injured and taken to Cape Cod Hospital in Hyannis due to a laceration on his head. To determine the cause of the crash, authorities are conducting an investigation. The Massachusetts State Police Marine Unit, the State Police Underwater Recovery Unit, and Massachusetts Environmental Police Marine Resources were involved in dive operations at the crash site to search for debris from the boat. The DA's statement said the boat involved in the crash was a regulator equipped with 2 outboard 250 horsepower engines bearing an Alabama registration. Regardless of any additional information or conclusion the investigation comes to, this incident is a sobering reminder to always be extra careful on the water and to also pay attention when operating machinery of any kind. In an effort to combat crime and empower at-risk youth, the Barnstable County Sheriff Youth Academy at Camp Linden in Sandwich is making a significant impact. Under the guidance of new Barnstable County Sheriff Donna Buckley, the program focuses on developing social skills, resilience, and healthy decision-making in teenagers aged 12 to 16. The 4-week initiative, sponsored by the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce, employs team-building exercises and problem-solving values. Participants learn to communicate effectively, think outside the box, and support one another. According to Buckley, quote, "The criminal justice system is racked with generations of offenders passing through it. I think investing in our youth is probably one of the most important things that we can do to break those cycles." National Night Out is an annual community building campaign that promotes police community partnerships and neighborhood camaraderie. It aims to strengthen the relationships between residents and local law enforcement agencies, ultimately working together to make neighborhoods safer and more vibrant. This event typically takes place on the first Tuesday in August, with communities across the United States participating in various activities such as crime prevention seminars, neighborhood cookouts, and block parties. The goal is to foster a sense of unity and collaboration among residents, while increasing awareness about crime prevention strategies and promoting personal and community safety. National Night Out creates an opportunity for neighbors to connect with one another, build strong bonds, and establish a support system that can help deter criminal activity. This year, the towns of Chatham, Dennis, and Yarmouth are all hosting their own National Night Out celebrations on Tuesday, August 1st. Chatham's will be from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Chatham Police Department, or 249 George Ryder Road. Dennis will have theirs from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Mike Stacy Park in Dennisport, while Yarmouth's will be at the Simpkins School Field in South Yarmouth from 5 to 8. Barnstable doesn't have a specific night out celebration, but they will have their 7th annual Unity Day on August 4th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Hyannis Village Green. The Massachusetts Army National Guard secured a lease extension through the end of the century, allowing them to plan, build, and train on the 15,000 acres at Camp Edwards on Joint Base Cape Cod. The lease extension was signed by the then Governor Charlie Baker in October. The extension provides the Army National Guard with the long-term stability required to compete for future military construction funding. By owning the property through the extended lease, the Guard can meet funding criteria, increasing its chance for securing funding for mission planning, infrastructure upgrades, and equipment. However, environmental advocates, including the Association to Preserve Cape Cod, raised concerns about the lack of transparency and public comment surrounding the lease extension. They believe that the use of the land at Joint Base Cape Cod, particularly for building a machine gun range, could pose threats to the region's drinking water and wildlife habitat, as well as contribute to issues with nitrogen and PFAS contamination. The APCC argues that the base's extensive land could be potentially repurposed for other uses, such as providing more affordable housing or addressing environmental challenges. They suggested using portions of the base for housing developments, as some existing housing units on the base have fallen into disuse and disrepair. It is worth noting that the base is an essential part of the local community, contributing significantly to the economy and providing approximately 4,800 employment opportunities to both military and civilian individuals. Town officials and representatives believe that having a good relationship with the base is crucial for mutual cooperation and support between the base and the surrounding towns. Coming up after the break, the annual Dennis Beach Lifeguard Competition. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Lauren Williamson. It's all about pollinators. We spoke with Kristen Andres from the Association to Preserve Cape Cod about planting and preserving native plant species in Harwich. Take a look.
Our pollinators are in severe decline, and mostly our wild bees. We have about 400 different wild bee species in New England, and a third or a fourth of them are really in, from what we know, are in a significant decline. We also know that our monarch butterflies, that their populations have diminished by 90% or more. So we're really, it's important to support our pollinators. They keep our ecosystems going. They also help us with our food crops, but importantly, they keep our ecosystems going. And so native plants and insects have evolved together, so they have very important relationships with each other. And if we want to have our native insects, we have to have our native plants. We thought this would be a great opportunity today on a Friday morning to have a little pop-up table to provide information to passersby about native plants. As we stand here next to a project that we've recently installed in collaboration with the town of Harwich and Blue Flax Design, who was the contractor who came up with the design and installation. So there's a great array of native plants. And it's a display garden to show folks that native plants are not weeds, that they're really attractive and beautiful, and they support our pollinators. And if anybody were to walk around and look right now, you'll see lots of bees really enjoying the butterfly milkweed and the Culver's root, and there'll be other plants that flower and fruit through the season. Our native plants are really important to support our native insects, and a lot of people might ask, why do we need insects? Well, beside pollination, we also need caterpillars to feed baby birds. It's really a crucial food source. For 96% of our terrestrial birds require caterpillars to feed their young. And so our native plants have co-evolved with our native insects, and they have very complex relationships. Many of our insects look for specific plant groups on which to lay their eggs because their caterpillars can only eat certain plants. And we always talk about the monarch butterfly as being the classic example because they are very specific. Their caterpillar can only eat the milkweeds, the plants that are in the milkweed family. And it's very similar with other insects, other butterflies and moths, that their caterpillars, their larvae, can only eat certain groups of plants that they've evolved with over thousands and thousands of years.
So the Conservation Department, one of our roles is really promoting native landscaping, promoting drought-tolerant native plants, require less water, don't require fertilization, really support our local pollinators and other native species, whereas a lot of ornamentals, though they may be beautiful and they do certainly have some value, they don't have as much value as these drought-tolerant natives to a lot of our species here. So if people want information about how to incorporate more of that into their yards, they can contact the Association Preserve Cape Cod. They can contact me at the Town of Harwich Conservation Department. We're more than happy to guide people.
On Tuesday, West Dennis Beach became the home of the annual Northside versus Southside lifeguard competition. Lifeguards competed in a variety of friendly competitions to claim this year's coveted bragging rights. Ryan Thompson has more.
The scenic shores of West Dennis Beach became the battleground for an exhilarating showdown as the Northside and Southside lifeguards of the town of Dennis went head-to-head in a spirited competition. A day filled with athleticism, camaraderie, and a touch of friendly rivalry.
So this is a competition we do annually, mostly for fun, but we get into it as it gets closer. It's real competitive. So the North Side and the South Side kind of operate separately in terms of day-to-day work. So this is a fun event we have where we can kind of come together, compete, and show off our individual lifeguard skills.
Basically, our main focus is obviously to ensure the safety of beach patrons on a day-to-day basis. So we have daily or weekly workouts where we go over a lot of these events and do training and work on our skills. So it's kind of nice to come together as a whole staff at the end at an event like this and have a little friendly competition.
The Northside team comprised of 4 main beaches: Mayflower, Chapin, Corporation, and Cold Storage, boasts a strong contingent of about 35 lifeguards. And on the other end, the Southside lifeguards stand guard over 6 main beaches: West Dennis, South Village, Haggis, Glendon, C Street, and Inman, with a dedicated team of around 20 to 25 lifeguards.
What event for the North Side is going to be a blowout for you, and what's going to be close?
Easily the mile run. We have 2 siblings, Natalie, Dylan Zaturka, shout out to them. They're both phenomenal runners, so easily taking a kick on those 2.
Probably our swim is going to be the best event for us today. We have 2 lifeguards, William Traub and Julia Wiener, and we're hoping they come in first for both of the men's and women's swim today.
So the North Side's 3-time repeating champs, hopefully 4 this year. But we have fun every year. It's fun to come and watch. Each year's very close.
The competition kicked off with the beach sprint, testing the lifeguards' agility, speed, and endurance. With their eyes on the prize, the Northside and Southside teams surged ahead, leaving nothing but determination in their wake. Next, the competition shifted to the water, where the lifeguards proved their aquatic prowess in a series of gripping swimming events. With adrenaline pumping through their veins, they fearlessly dived into the ocean, skillfully navigating the rolling waves. In a narrow and hard-fought competition, Southside emerged victorious, ending the Northside's 3-year winning streak. The margin was tight, showcasing the incredible talent and commitment of both teams. In an inspiring show of unity, the lifeguards of both Northside and Southside proved that this competition was not about division, but rather a shared passion for their vital duty.
Yeah, I think it's just a fun thing for families and beach patrons to come watch. It also inspires younger kids to look at the lifeguards and, hopefully want to do something like that again in their lives. So, overall, it's just a fun thing, and we're going to have a great time doing it.
For Cape Media News, I'm Ryan Thompson.
Coming up after the break, Barnstable's lively town council meeting. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Lauren Williamson. At a packed house town council meeting last week, residents in the town of Barnstable lined up to give their thoughts on multiple agenda items. Some expressed concerns about changes to the code of the town regarding council votes on zoning issues, while others were concerned about rising crime. And airport commissioners addressed what they considered insulting comments from a member of the council. But one resident used their time to address an arguably greater issue: housing.
The town council meeting on July 20th, a local resident voiced her concerns about the local housing situation.
Why are we keeping the airport wide open when it's basically just land that is sitting there? We could be building low-income state housing on it. Guess what? The governor of Massachusetts has said we should be using state lands to build low-income housing. I'm a renter. I'm sick of hearing people who have second and third and fourth homes over here complaining that we don't need the housing, that we're going to mess with the traffic. Guess what? I'm on the verge of being homeless in a couple of months because I can't afford to pay $1,500, $1,700, $1,800 working for a nonprofit. So please, can we do something for the actual low-income people that live in this community? I'm sick of hearing the wealthy come in here and say all of these things when you're not going to Village Green. If you all had a problem, right? You know what we can do? There's no programs that go to Village Green where we have over 300 kids just sitting in the parking lot. Why aren't there buses? Why aren't there programs? You all have this community center, right? Why aren't you all busing kids to the community center when school's out? Half the kids in Village Green right now are knocking on the other complexes' doors because they don't have food in the summertime. So what is the Hyannis Town Council going to do for those people? Building housing where the airport is? Guess what? You can house all the teachers, firefighters, and everybody else that needs the housing on state land without raising taxes or anything of that sort. Sorry. Thank you.
Could you state your name one more time? I'm sorry. Could you state your name one more time?
Asia Graves.
Asia Graves. Thank you, Asia.
I'm sorry for getting all angry.
No, that's
I'm one
okay.
of the few renters, and by the way, that proposal about cameras all over the place, guess what? You all have a very small community of color. Placing cameras everywhere, that scares your community of color. Guess what? You already have had the Trader Reds guy say the N-word all over the place and say that the cops were on his side. How do the people of color in this community feel safe? There's no dispensary, right? You have drug addicts sleeping on Main Street because they can't get access to medical marijuana because, oh no, that's not safe
Ms.
for
Graves,
Hyannis.
While counselors are not required to respond to public comments, President Matthew Levesque chose to address the issue.
If you need food, I can get you that tomorrow. I work for the Brazilian Health Ministry. I work for Faith Family Kitchen. I have ties with Family Table Collaborative. If you need food tomorrow, I'm not talking, it's actually not a conversation. I'm just giving you my response to what you said earlier. So if you need food, I can get you food tomorrow. And I will deliver it myself Saturday morning if you need it. So that's the boots on the ground that I have a passion about. It's something that came to my mind, and it was what got me out of bed in the morning during COVID when I lost my business. So just so you know, and as far as housing goes, every day I am working, talking with those who aren't represented in this room. that desperately need housing. And quite honestly, if I thought the airport was the solution to that, I would pursue that. So, and you're welcome to come in and talk to me at any time, and I'll be glad to show you all the opportunity that we have to move housing forward, and especially how yesterday I was talking to somebody in regards to a possible affordable housing, something that we could partner with as a town with them. And that's happening because of what we've recently moved as a council forward with our form-based code here in downtown Hyannis. And then furthermore, I'm having constant conversations in regards to new zoning that's happening in the state of Massachusetts about home ownership for affordable. All the way down, we're following my vision would be we'd follow the sewer pipe right down to 149 in Marston's Mills, my precinct. I'm not afraid to put housing in other villages if it fits, okay? So, and home ownership, not just renting. Okay, be rest assured. And if you want to have a conversation about it, you can call me anytime.
While many applauded her statements, one resident stepped up to echo his support.
Good evening. My name is Lawrence Brown. I've been a teacher on Cape Cod for 34 years and a columnist for the Cape Cod Times for about the same length of time. I think Ronald Reagan was president when I started writing for them. I wasn't planning on speaking, but I was very moved by what Asia said. Is she still here? And she spoke for herself, and I think more people should be speaking on her behalf as well. First of all, the idea that we should have to choose between the environment and affordable housing is a false dichotomy, and we need to get past that. That's not fair, and it's not right. And I can't imagine that there isn't enough intelligence and experience and imagination in this room to find some way to fix that. To drop 500 to 600 trees is an odd response for Cape Cod to make, given what's happening around the country and around the world environmentally. I would be ashamed that we should do that. Ideally, what we do should, first of all, favor Cape Cod investors over out-of-state investors. If somebody's going to make money on this, it should be us. I have to admit, I have some pity but no affection for Texas. I'd rather see the money stay here. Someone mentioned ADUs. There have to be other ways that more people, middle class and lower income people, can not only find housing, but also make money providing housing for other people. This can't only be a game for the high rollers to play. And from what I've heard from the large housing proposals, they're not offering the kind of housing that would benefit lower income people who need the housing the most. If we want their services here, we have to find a way to accommodate their needs so they can live decently here. That's it. Thank you very much for listening and your patience.
Cape Media News, I'm Mitch Suck.
Thank you for joining us this evening. If you have a story you'd like to see covered, send us an email at newstip@capemedia.org. Tune in next week for more hyperlocal news that matters on Channel 99, Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV. For Cape Media News, I'm Lauren Williamson.